It's going to be the biggest amount of money that they spend, millions and millions of dollars, and they're entrusting you and your team to make that happen.
This is our second installment of our three-part conversation with Tim from Kai Construct. He's a recognizable builder in the custom home building space, leading notable projects such as Mountain Home and Kingfisher Residence. And we wanted to hear why he's in business.
Building can be all consuming, and I know for me, I'm making a massive shift, not back to, but more focus on my relationship with Kai, the reason why I started it, and my relationship with Lauren and our growing family. And I have a farm for a reason. I want to be able to be on that farm and enjoy other things in life while I enjoy building.
Also, just some context, like where do you live? Like where's your house?
Yeah.
Where's
People
Kingfisher?
think I'm nuts, eh?
Yeah, so where do you live?
So we so we live on a farm, and we lived on the farm before everyone wanted to buy a farm. Like
Now
10 years ago.
everyone wants a farm.
And everyone's like, "Oh, you live on a farm? That's fantastic." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I mow on the weekends." Like, it's good to have apprentices now, though. But I live near Marburg, between Marburg and Mount Murray, in a valley. It's a beautiful place, and it's just a great lifestyle. And yeah, that's so I still live there now at the moment.
So yeah, and we spoke about sacrifices before, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, one thing you have to sacrifice to do that, like just one. I mean, there's probably a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah.
It's the drive. I
Yeah,
mean,
about an hour. It was an hour and 10. Now it's like an hour and 40. This highway's gotten busy. But yeah, about an hour and a half to hour and 40 a day. And we were joking before that, and this comes down to like the reason of it, of whether I left. I normally leave home around 3:30, 4 o'clock. And I left home. It's raining today, obviously. It's a little bit cold. I thought, I'll just start the fire for Kai. So when he wakes up, he's like, he loves just chilling outside. And he heard me load the fireplace, and he came out. And I'm obviously a very driven person to be on time. Like that's a very, very key value that I have for my team. And then I'm like, he just came out. It's like, "Dad, can you just hang out with me for a little bit?" And I'm like,
How old's Kai now?
He turns 7 in August, man.
Wow.
So Kai Construct is 7 years. That's a long time.
yeah. So you had a decision at this point in time.
So even
I've
this
gotta go.
morning, right now,
Yeah.
I was like, I got to go. I got heaps of stuff that I want to do. But I decided to stay this morning and hung out with him, chatted to him, and he just opened up and talking. It was like the best 45 minutes ever. And I'm just like, you know what? All that stuff can wait.
Yeah.
So that's the shift from like the first 1-2 years in business and then doing the Instagram and the perception and wanting to fulfill like I can build beautiful homes and all the rest of it and have a great client journey as well. And then coming back to even like the start of this year, reevaluating what Kai Construct's all about and why I'm in business and all the rest of it, to even this morning of like, well, the reason why I've started is so I do have the opportunity to decide, hey man, I'm going to chill out on the couch with you at 3:45 in the morning. And
Do you want to like maybe go into like what's your why now? Because now you've got a lot of like you've got 5 years under your belt. More like just with Kai Construct.
yeah,
What is your why now? Now knowing everything you know.
reflecting. So this Christmas was the first Christmas I actually took 4 weeks out of the business. It was my first holiday. And I was pretty strict on it, and we just started.
Yeah, and Tim's not lying, by the way, because
Yeah.
we catch up a lot, right?
Yeah,
we
we do.
catch up at least once a month for dinner.
Yeah, minimum,
At
yeah.
least. And every single time I ask you the question, when are you going on holidays? And you're like, yeah, I've got a plan. It'll be the next few months. And this has been like years now.
It's a bit of a running joke between all of us. Even the team, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to take the Monday public holiday off with you guys." And like, sure you are. But I've taken all the public holidays off this year. Feel super inefficient about it, but that's just defining the balance of achievement. This year, like with Rue, like being born, baby girl, baby boy, just polar opposite worlds in itself. But it's just like now my goal is about running a really effective business, understanding that I can't control every single factor. Like I said before, like Kai Construct is a big team now. There's its own ecosystem, and removing myself personally from Kai Construct. Like Kai Construct is running right now, and I'm not. I get to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
But now it's redefining. Okay, I want to buy time. And I think when we first caught up, I said I want to shorten that time frame of where I want to get to. The problem is I didn't know where I wanted to get to. So it's like you want to shorten that time. It's like, well, shorten the time for what? Now it's like, how can I be the most present father, best husband, best leader in the business? And I need to be okay that my skill set is not having a nail belt on, which my brother knows, Jamie. If I'm hanging around site or like playing on the digger or just walking around site, it's like, don't you need to be somewhere? Like the office or something? Or like helping me schedule something? And it's like, because that's my outlet. But it's shifting and changing. My why now is to create something that is more than just me, my personal aspirations, drop the ego, just help and create the best environment for my team and create a beautiful and amazing experience for our clients. We're at the stage now where the trust that is given to us as a business with the amount of money that they're spending is like, when you look at it, you're in a partnership marriage almost. Like it's going to be the biggest amount of money that they spend, millions and millions of dollars, and they're entrusting you and your team to make that happen. So yeah, that was a long-winded way of answering it, but it shifted back to family. It shifted back to running an effective business and having time and that passion and to be happy about what you're doing in the business.
Because I mean, why? Like, this is a massive question. I mean, it's the question. It's a headline of this video. Why are you a builder? And I think it's so hard to like identify your why. What are some things, how do you identify your why? What are the questions you ask yourself, or do you put yourself in a certain situation? Do you take time out? What does it look like for you to get clear on that why?
Yeah, like I agree with Andre, what you said before, mate, is because it's seasons. Our why is defined by the season that we're experiencing, either in business or in life. Like, we all know that having no kids in a relationship and then having kids in a relationship is like, man, we had so much time before kids. Like, what do we even do? Same thing in business. Like, you suddenly have a team and you have all this time. And now for me, my priority is trying to realign how I perceive my addition to the business as being effective. I don't mind being efficient. I always try to be efficient, but I want to make sure every single action or direction that I'm taking the business is an effective one, because now other people are implementing that in the team that are extremely good at what they're doing. So my why is now taking time out of the business, forcing myself to go, you know what, I'm like, yesterday I didn't go to site, turned my phone on flight mode and just mapped out what I wanted to do this year. A bit late because it's halfway through the year.
That's good.
But you know what
Financial
I mean?
year.
Yeah, and I think every single time, even at the start of Kai Construct to now, every single time that I took time out of the business, went on holidays, we even went away like midweek for a couple of days just before Rue was born. Even just those couple of times out of the business gives you such insight, because you can be inside a situation and inside your business fully, and it's really hard to assess how that's going until you take your time out of it.
How good was 10X?
So good.
So like taking time
so
out.
glad we got that in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when was that, JP? Do you remember?
That was Jan, Feb of 2019.
So we were all there. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And something happens, like, I don't know if you guys feel the same, but as soon as I don't know how many 1,000 foot you're up in the air, in an airplane, but as soon as I'm up there, for some reason, my mind starts going wild with, like, I'm getting excited about business. I write things down. Maybe it is because we're looking at that, we're literally big picture, like you're looking down at the world. But yeah, I agree, like taking that time out is massive.
In a different environment too.
Yeah, different environment. Yeah.
Taking a time out on site, trying to map your business out off to the side on site is not taking time out.
Yeah.
I've been there, tried to do it, doesn't
Yeah.
work. You need to change your environment
Yeah.
in where you are to then assess your business.
Yeah.
Following on from the why, something that's just popped into my mind is we were both at an industry event the other night, and we both walked away. And I know some other builders we were talking to also found it like, man, that was really doom and gloom.
Totally.
It was like, what? And it just highlighted for me the importance of having a mindset of where's the opportunity If it is hard, it's hard for everyone. That's the baseline. How do we go from there? So going from a why, how important is getting clear on your why when you start looking at how to move forward in the current times? Because I ask you that because after that night, you and myself and the other guys that were there who have good mindsets were like, what the heck was that?
Yeah, I was like,
That's,
the
you know,
information delivery
and-
was interesting.
Yeah, and your mindset went straight to opportunity. Like, there is an amazing opportunity here.
Oh, I was on the phone to my town planner going, mate, this is coming in. Do you know about this? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. Well, we can actually change this and this for these clients and these 2 developments coming up. And I walked away with opportunity. In the moment when I was hearing it, I was just looking around the room going, man, the industry has been hit hard. Like, builders have been putting out fires for the last 2 years, copping money, people having to sell their homes, people having to pull money out of their homes for all the rest of it, and to keep their business alive. And then the industry itself is getting shifted and changed for, the first time in building code in a very long time to address things. And the sentiment that I spoke to a few builders there, and they're like, man, we're dealing with enough. Like, suddenly you want to change the goalposts again. And I think knowing your why and your business and being really clear on defining on what you want for yourself and for your team and for your clients is a good way to go, okay, cool. Well, so we still want to do this. There's challenges, but it's not like, oh, just something else, because I don't even know what I want to build or where I want to build or what I want to do. It's just been harder and harder to make money. And sometimes people in the building industry, they look at the big homes, they look at the big contract, and then they hear them like, oh, you hear around, oh, you should be making 10 or 20% on margin on every single job, and say, oh, that bloke's making $500,000 on a $2.5 million build. And I think they get wrapped up in that that aspect of it. Learn your overheads first, and understand how much it's going to cost to build at home. But understanding your why helps you pull yourself out of that, be on the plain view. And I was in the car, hour and a half driving home, obviously. Had great time to reflect on it. Yeah. I was like, cool. So I actually get 6 months ahead to plan out what's happening in it. And I can add value to the clients, and I can educate the team around this. And I just,
Do you find your why allows you to look further on the horizon?
I feel the why is like short-term view, long-term goal.
Okay.
Your why helps you define of like, okay, I want to go there for this reason in 2 or 3 years. Understanding the why and your goals. And I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, I want to understand why. Everyone talks about why. It's really hard to define, well, what is the why? What is the right thing to have? And I question that a lot. Like, everyone knows their why. Like, why don't I know mine?
Why am I not so certain about my
I'm in the
why?
middle of mountain home, and they're like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. You know what I mean? So it's like understanding, like, yeah, your why is your long-term goal, and the short-term stuff is like those nights on site with problems. That's the short-term stuff. But yeah, it's good to lift your head and go, oh, but I'm still going there.
Yeah,
I'm still
that's
going
why
out
it's so
that
important
direction.
to have a why, because this is happening for me a lot. Like running a business, we've got like, the biggest team we've ever had in our business, and just all the problems and stuff that come up. Some days you might feel like, wow, this is tough, like emotionally, and like you're dealing with like family, like home stuff and this, and you're like, why am I doing this? And if you don't have that why to really quickly go, it's just going to be like a sad feeling. You're like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?
And you know what the hard thing about that is? If you are running your business on your own and you're asking that question,
Yeah.
and you don't have someone to soundboard that
Yeah,
off,
100%. That's
that, and then you look on Instagram,
yeah.
and then you look at the current situation of building is really difficult right now and challenging, then it's really hard to have that resilience to then go, why am I still building? Like, it's good that you guys brothers run the business. I have my brother to soundboard off as well. Sometimes people in the building business, they don't have that, so they need to find other builders or friends that can relate to it.
On that note,
Yeah.
You've had a great relationship with, a big thing we always talk about, and I know at the start of this we talked about industry becoming more lonely and that, and not just for the industry but business owners in general. And we're always pushing and encouraging our builders to go out there and make relationships with other builders. That's why we run the events that we run, so guys can network. But who are some of the good sounding boards in your life? And yeah, start there maybe.
Yes, I've had. So firstly, when I started growing Kai Construct after 10X and all the rest of it, I started doing more personal development outside of my business to understand how I can be a better operator individually.
Okay. Why? Why did you need to?
Because I was at the limit of me thinking that what I was doing was right, and then the results weren't what I expected them to be.
Yeah.
In different facets of the business, not just project delivery, but team or performance or bank balance or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like a big thing is like my relationship with Lauren and our family dynamics, and like, you know, I'm on, every builder's on the phone talking all day, and you just want to get home and not say a word. Just like, just talk to me. I want to have a conversation. So then I realized I had to work on myself, and if I can get myself right, then everything else can flow out from that. Another soundboard that I've had that like values this relationship so much, he came to 10X, and I know you guys were freaking out because like, oh, two builders came to the same one, are they even going to get on?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Because you guys met at the airport.
We met at the airport, yeah.
Didn't you call them beforehand?
No, we met at the airport.
Okay.
I think it was at Brisbane Airport.
Yeah,
we were all
at the
having
coffee
lunch
shop.
before the flight.
Okay.
Once we've checked in.
And you know what? He has not changed because he came with his laptop and he was punching out some work before the flight.
Punching out quotes.
Punching out quotes.
He's a commercial builder, so he's doing a lot of tenders.
Yeah. And like, I just look at him just like with so much respect. And just also, I was literally on the phone to him yesterday at usual time between 4 and 6 a.m. when I'm driving. Is like, he's been a great sounding board as we grow our businesses. And it's been good for us because he's in the commercial world, I'm in the residential world. We're both building businesses. We both have different problems, and we're able to soundboard and talk that through. Like some of the decisions that I've made in my business, like $1 million decisions on long-term for the business, has been from advice that I've got from someone that I trust and I know runs on the boards. Like, I'm not asking my neighbour next door, who's a farmer, going, hey, I'm thinking about this is my business. I get to talk to a good friend of mine now that I value his opinion, and there's no agenda behind the advice.
Yeah, and not biased.
It's important to
that's
like
the
choose
hardest
the
thing.
right person though, or the right
Man,
people.
100%.
This is massive because, man, like, I mean, it could go the other way. If you have someone that's like a sounding board, they could go, oh, but yeah, the world, like
They
the
gotta have
world's
similar
contracting.
why.
You've got to contract.
Do you know what I find when I hear that? And I have had a few relationships as Kai Construct has grown, and their circumstances are a little bit different. And I feel people want to help you to a point.
Until
And-
you start outgrowing.
I do, totally.
Yeah.
And then you start questioning like, oh, is it okay to actually... And then you talk to other people who are either your peers or have been through it in a different business and different industry. And like, dude, you should totally do that. Like, that's awesome. You're killing it. Like, good for you. And I'm like, oh, cool, man. You know, and I've realized that I need to be careful personally in my relationships going like, I want the best outcome for people. If people make like money, if people are successful in business, if people deliver a great product, no matter what their business is, I'm like, dude, good for you, man. Because if you can do it, then I can do it. And that should be the premise of where you reach out to people as well.
Thank you for tuning into part 2 of our conversation with Tim. Subscribe for part 3 coming out tomorrow.